you very much.
Good to be here.
One candidate in Georgia's race for governor is facing backlash for campaigning on what's being rather called a deportation bus. Republican State Senator Michael Williams says that he plans to drive the bus through Georgia's sanctuary cities.
And he's not the only candidate running in next week's primary race calling for stricter immigration enforcement. The state's current lieutenant governor is also campaigning on a similar platform, as well as Georgia's Secretary of State. To help us break down the race, Greg Bluestein is a political reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and he joins us now. So, Greg, what has been the response in Georgia to Michael Williams' deportation bus?
Yeah, well, Senator Williams had a few stops yesterday in some of the cities with more liberal policies involving illegal immigration, and he was met with dozens of counter-protesters. He had to cancel a third stop planned because of the pushback. Today, he's planning a few more stops, but apparently his bus broke down on the way to one of the stops. So a lot of pushback. And one of the restaurants where he's planning to hold the events, which is outside Cracker Barrels sent a statement saying that no political campaigning is welcome there as well. So he's getting a lot of stiff pushback so far for this plan.
So other than immigration, what are the issues that voters in Georgia are sort of the most concerned about?
Yeah, well, on the Republican side of the race, we're hearing a lot about illegal immigration, a lot about guns, and a lot about taxes. Each of the candidates seems to be trying to one-up each other on their conservative stances. One candidate wants to eliminate Georgia's income tax, which is about $10 billion worth a year. Most of the candidates are also trying to outduel each other on how far to the right they're willing to go on Second Amendment rights. The Democratic side is the same, except they're going to the left, and it's really the first time where we've seen Georgia Democratic candidates go from a centrist platform to one that's more left-leaning.
So Williams is also the former Georgia co-chair of the Trump campaign. How are these 5 GOP candidates aligning themselves, or perhaps not, with the president?
Yeah, Michael Williams is perhaps at every event he's gone to, he's reminded folks that he was the first state GOP official to endorse Donald Trump way back in 2015. He's probably the candidate who's most closely aligned himself to the president. But polls show, especially among conservatives, that Trump has soaring approval ratings. So none of the candidates want to give Michael Williams or any others an opening. So they're all sort of, touting Donald Trump, but they're also focusing more on Georgia issues. They're trying to take Trump out of the GOP primary by focusing more on taxes and immigration and other issues that are more directly controlled. At least taxes and guns are directly controlled by the state government.
You mentioned that the two Democratic candidates are sort of pushing further to the left. We had a graphic pop up that showed who they were, 2 women running against each other. Can you sort of break this down and talk to us a little about the Democratic race?
Yeah, and both of them are running for a sense of history. Stacey Evans is a former state lawmaker who'd be the first female governor in Georgia history. Stacey Abrams was the former top Georgia House Democrat. She'd be the nation's first black female governor. Both of them are pushing each other to the left on issues like gun control. They're both advocating for gun control, which is something of a first in Georgia politics for a gubernatorial candidate. Decriminalizing marijuana, more tax and financial aid to low-income families. But they both have very different strategies to do so. Stacey Evans hopes that by appealing to moderates and independents in Atlanta's suburbs who used to be Democrats but have steadily fled to the GOP, by getting them back, that would be the Democratic path to victory. Stacey Abrams says that's the same strategy that Democrats have failed to execute the last 10 years or so. She wants to get a host of hundreds of thousands of left-leaning minorities who rarely cast ballots. She wants to try to energize them to win this race.
All right, Greg Bluestein bringing us some local issues. Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate it.